Hello, everybody. It looks like we are live and ready to start the stream today. We will be continuing case 2. And yeah, actually, I do have one quick little surprise that I would like to show. As you can see, that's me. And I talk now. Hee hee. I'll be in the bottom of the screen here, talking. I don't know, I thought it was cool. Let's continue. Oh well. Let's go. Looks like we're still investigating. Pretty sure I won't get in the way of anything. Never mind. Let's maybe over a bit. There we go. Just barely poking out over there. Hee hee. Hello. Okay, this'll work. I'm still peeking out of the corner over there. Alright. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I'd wish we managed to find some clues as to what speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us, as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, well, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh yes, he completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring that these were securely back on my wrists. Oh. Okay, I think the only thing we kind of didn't check out in here was this, mousetrap thing. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I wonder what it tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. You weren't actually gonna try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. Okay, what else is there? Can we go down here now? That door leads to the second class area. It's locked. I can't open it. No, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape. Gosh. It's very... I guess we are in the 1800 somethings. Gosh is probably a pretty standard word to use there. Let me... What? Why does it keep doing that? Okay. Hold on just a second. Test. Okay. What else is there? Is that something? No. You've already looked at that. Is it just talking to him again? I really wish I had the chance to look around Miss Pavlova's cabin. What? Why you look like that? You want something? Maybe. You want me to throw you out again, oh, no, definitely not that. Next time I have to throw you out, I show you where lobsters spend winter. Understand? Understand. Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I don't think he'll ever forget your face, Naruhodo-san. I don't think that's supposed to be a compliment. I guess, yeah, the only other thing is this door, which is our room. I think. First class cabin, yeah. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin. It's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. Anyway, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga has managed to uncover any new clues. Yes, we should probably find him and ask. Alrighty then. Move probably back into the cabin. Alright. It looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject. I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed. What do you mean, unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you. Oh, yeah. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. Is he in here? Oh, there he is. I guess the captain did not take the news very well. You're back. Inspector, what happened to you? Your face is... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe. When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing. Really. Yeah, it looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Oh, is that text different colored, meaning he's gonna sacrifice himself by the end of these games? I feel like there's a decent chance. He gets fatally injured. Maybe not killed. Definitely severely wounded. Before these games are done. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh? Oh? I bumped into a man claiming to be the great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herr Lock Scholz. I don't think he was German, though. Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes then? We can tell you what we found. Yes, let's do it. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door. Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case, at least. No? How? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? I mean, technically she's already committed a crime by sneaking aboard the ship and running away from the company. But we can look past that. Oops, now I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. Ah, there is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh? What? Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please. What is this new information you have, Inspector? It's this. The Buria's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report. Kazuma-sama. So what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report. His neck was broken? Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury, so at first I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Your bare hands. Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object. Something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Poor Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. Ah, Hosanaga's coming around. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? Ah, we got it. I want to take a look at that now. Time of death between 1 a.m. and a little past 2. Certainly broken as a long, strong blow to the area. Okay, so pretty straightforward, nothing out of the ordinary there that wasn't mentioned in the dialogue. Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, was he? Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now you mention it, yes, just one thing, but he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish, was all he said. Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass. Do you see? Ah, perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, don't you think? Ah, yes, that must be it. I mean, I thought that was kind of obvious. But how can Mr. Sholmes know that it's shoe polish? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Susato-san? Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red, then. Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? Alright. Ooh, what's this? That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you. Inspector, you look exhausted. Oh no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. He was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke up this morning. A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. How strange. I guess we can look at this. This is where Kazuma spent his final moments writing in his diary. 1:20 p.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35. Speckled band, yeah. Looking at his writing here on this page, it's almost impossible to believe that he's gone. Kazuma-sama left us a valuable clue in these words. I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo-san. We will. Okay. Guess all that's left is Russian dye. You! Where did you go? Oh, sorry. I just went to the next door cabin to investigate. Why? Who gave you the permission for this? Well, Seaman Hosonaga did. That new Japanese wasn't. Later, I will roll him into bowl and throw him in cold room. Whew. He's gone back to guarding the door. I hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a date at La Carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. Okay. Seems we are out of options. Okay, I guess we go back here. Ah! Look, Naruhodo-san! Seaman Stroganoff is gone. Strong enough? The burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us? Oh, all those Russian names are impossible to remember. Ra-la-la. Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la-li-la-li-la-lay. I did it the great detective way. I wonder who it could be. This caroling. I know that lark-like voice. Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us. Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate. Definitely, before that stringy knot crewman comes back. It's Stroganoff, not Stringy Knot. Let's go. She's gone. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Susato-san... Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can. I suppose you're right. For Kazuma's sake. Not just for Kazuma-sama. What do you mean? It can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. Now there's that Ace Attorney spirit. The case is open now. Oh my! Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside. But according to the great detective's great deduction, She was hiding her special friend in there. Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret. Because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard this SS Buria. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now? Alright, let's look at the clothes. Naruhodo-san, are you there? Sorry, I'm right here, yes? Why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone can fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. Okay, we can't inspect the very lumpy bag here. This cabin door is the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. With the bolts drawn across, there's no way anyone can enter the cabin from the outside. Yes, it's not particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. And it seals up perfectly, too, to stop any seawater from coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through the crack around the closed door either. I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Rules. Yes, they're displayed in this cabin too. Look, the SS Buria's rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. I suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Your special friend, I mean. I wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. She's probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. I just hope Seaman Strong Enough doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh, yes, so do I. All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one. Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door, in Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase? I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? Alright then. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage? Not everything bad that happens on this ship is because of me, you know. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again in here, too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. Alright. Check the bed. We get the tassel, and we get the vent. So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door. Yes, although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Maybe it's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm? Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. That is a possibility. Anyway, last night Kazuma wrote he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. That's it. There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin too. Yes, it's a belt cord. I can't resist. She barely hesitated there, and she gave it a good tug too. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. Okay. Bowl. I wonder what this little saucer is doing on the floor. Yes, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. Or like it was put there deliberately. Do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here? What? Oh, a leak. Is this ship quite safe? I'm sure that even if there's a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship is going to sink. No, no, you're right. Of course you're right. She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? It would seem this teapot is empty. So the natural conclusion is that the Russians are a very thirsty people. Okay, phrasing there, Ryunosuke. Or because Miss Pavlova only came into this cabin last night, so she hasn't had the chance to make any tea yet. I mean, it could be either. It's definitely that they're excessively thirsty. I'd lay 1,000 to 1 on it. You're rather obstinate, aren't you, Naruhodo-san? Okay. What else? This brick. I suppose every cabin has a wastepaper basket. Shall we have a little look and see what's been thrown away? Naruhodo-san, it's more etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know. Ugh, those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all. I suppose that makes sense. You just move in. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing. There are just a few books on that desk. Nothing else by the looks of it. Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied this cabin for any time at all. That's true. I wonder what kind of books she likes to read. That's it. Let me see. Yes, I see. It would seem that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian. Thanks. I think I probably already knew that. It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo-san. Can you remember that? That's funny. Is there anything else in here? The door done, the bookshelf. Not the light up above. Done the tea, done the desk, done that. Yeah, I'm not sure what else. I mean, the thing just said I think we need to spend a little bit more time investigating here, so... Miss Pavlova's cabin. This could be our chance. Well, we just went in there. Appear to be around at the moment. We can investigate every last inch of that cabin. I'm not sure we could go that far, but we could certainly do looking around for more. I'm sure we could learn something. Okay. Some more in this area. Kazuma-sama's quarters. It wants me to examine more in this area. Done my door. We've done the alarm. We've done this door. Oh, hello there. Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look! Wow, you never know where he's going to turn up next, do you? He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself. Tra-la-la-li-la-li-la-lay, I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply in extremely high spirits? Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky Herlock was about. Excuse me. I solved it all and stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes. Ah! What is it? You want to fight? Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, and I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never going to stop. So I figured now was as good a time as any. He is absolutely ready to throw down. That's, impressive. I guess. I very nearly dropped to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. All right, I get the picture. Now, could you put those fists away? Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in the study of the ship's log, as penned by the stocky-built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh, yes, the ship's log. And did you find anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the excuse me, the majority of the entries are blank, which means that there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so you truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You have been utterly blinded by it. Sorry. Your logic, my boy, is inverted. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman oft sends an sentry in the first-class passageway, and he has an almost religious practice of recording. Nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes that every 30 minutes? Nothing to report? Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report. Do you mean? Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. Sweet. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes. Brilliance. Oh, ouch. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning. For some reason, nothing more. Everyone seems to have headaches this morning. What could be the reason? Well, my friends, until our next encounter. He's still singing to himself. I can hear as he wanders off down the passageway. Is something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just... well, I feel the same. Sorry? Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing. Oh, you too. We all have headaches. Hosonaga, Sholmes, Susato-san, and me. Ah, what's that? Uh-oh. We're under attack. Vessel sighted quarter-mile forward. Oh god. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? Uh-oh. I can't stand. Susato-san, hold on to me. Ah! Well, that's not good. Susato-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san. Well, this is awkward. It looks like we avoided a collision. I think... yes, the ship has come to a stop. Oh my goodness! What about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. I'm going to refrain from assigning a voice. There we go. Inspector Hosanaga. Is that you in there, Naruto-san? Unbolt the door. Quickly. What? The bolt? Gasp! Look at that! The door's bolted. Did you do that, Susato-san? No, I didn't touch it. Well, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again. So the ship came to a sudden stop last night? Naruto-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? So the ship came to a sudden stop last night. I'd better tie this place up first and then let the man in. What's the least he's gonna do? Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery, at least in a very vivid way, but I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. Those are quite intense words. Alright, let's see what trouble we got into this time. So the ship stopped suddenly last night. I think... Oops. I think the reason it stopped was because they let Pavlova on. Because we weren't at port last night. So they saw her little dinghy or whatever she was on. They had to stop. They pulled her aboard. That's my theory as to why the ship stopped. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath, and gently slid back the bolt. You! What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? You both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Ah! You wicked intruder, dressed all in black. You are the devil. Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes. Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. It is not enough that he has killed a man. Ah, and he is stowaway as well. A vixen promised not to steal chickens. Do you believe? Take him away. He is a trespasser as well as everything else. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are devil. It doesn't look good, does it? This Pavlova seems to have a rapid change of heart. Almost makes me think she's being forced to do this. Falsely accusing us of stealing her beloved pet. I think the captain is onto her. She's doing this to not be thrown overboard, or not have the pet be thrown overboard. There is still below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we talk in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosanaga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm all out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Hold on, just let me look around real quick. Miss Pavlova, can I get out? Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission, but get out now. We just needed to investigate here to help us understand what happened to Russian. Ugh, it's no use. She's not going to listen. I need to find someone who will. I doubt Big Russian guy is going to listen. Please, just give me a little more time.
I do nothing for you, except show you a way to ship's prison cell.
Ugh, thanks, but no thanks. I'm innocent. I didn't kill anyone.
And trespassing and stowing away.
Well, you know, sometimes life can lead you down some unusual avenues, and, well...
Enough! You are guilty. Ship's cell is only place fit for you.
Come on, there has to be someone. Some savior rescue me from this crisis. I'm guessing Sholmes is gonna bust in here once we finish talking to Hosonaga. You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin, uninvited, I mean. Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any farther, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries. I'm really sorry. I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once. I really need some help here. I need a savior to come rescue me from this crisis. Huh. Gee, I wonder who this savior could be. What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Naturally, I was analyzing what the weight of 20,000 rubles would feel like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't merely tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. Ugh, I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again. The great detective. Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere on... Whoa, let's try that again. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time.
What is to report? Speak.
An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Burya, has been solved by me, naturally. What? Really? Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanation exists. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Okay, I guess it's deduction time.
Ha! You have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing Student Boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is the stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it.
I didn't do it. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin's door was bolted shut from the inside. Aha! I figured it out. So, Kazuma was writing in his room, or whatever. Somebody snuck in, killed him, snuck out, and pulled the alarm. Which is why the bolt latched closed, the books were toppled. Which means someone could have come inside and made it look like no one could have been inside. It's cool, white, simple, elementary. I figured it out. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Ah, locked room. That is point.
The room was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from the outside the cabin. You're all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. Has he figured out what I have figured out? Or is he gonna say something ridiculous? That is the question here. Oh yes, there is another entrance. Nope, they crawled through the vent. An entrance used last night in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator?
You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole.
That's because your arms are as thick as the tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 123, yeah. Whistling sound, speckled band. Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What did this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. But for what I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your core. Behold! Yeah! What the? Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the speckled band. A snake? Indubitably. Well, I was right about the speckled band being a snake. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? I mean, he has a point. And he's not really making a whistling noise. Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it a banded band. The striped band. Boo. You both see and observe with distinction. However, do you not think that this is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How exactly? I think perhaps it's time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Uh-oh. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one. Oh. Last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. Ah. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No. She's turned white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi.
Uh-oh. It looks like he can't speak with that snake cord around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright. Identity. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. The whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, for an inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. So it's not the snake. And yet that fact leaves us in a quandary. Oh, is that why the man has the weird tan lines? This is just his snake, because you can see like it wrapped around his face on his portrait. I think that this man is the owner of this snake. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this conjury, even now hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal. That can only be the snake Sloch Stind. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime of this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin, no? I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator, visible in this cabin, then your speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours which had last night infiltrated the scene of the crime is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it slows its skin. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Alright, moving on, we've come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There is no point in feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glances betray the hiding place you choose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your servant assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't... It is telling that the victim made a note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. To train? Indeed, you'd put the serpent through this ventilator, and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so it listens for sign of life next door. If the victim had appeared to not have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs at once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. Okay, well, we just know that's not true. I really don't want to think that Miss Pavlova did it, but maybe she thought that Kazuma found out about her stowaway, but even then the crew knows about her, so it's like, why would she kill someone over like thinking about being a stowaway, or thinking that their stowaway-ness would be revealed? Like, I don't know, not quite sure who did it yet. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course, what's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. They don't need milk. You are well informed, madam. And reptiles, don't drink milk. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling. But madam, what of the tale from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sound of a flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There is one other thing. You have more?
snakes use the scales on their bellies to repel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake can manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the one in these cabins.
Then you should try harder.
Sheesh. Please don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. We broke him. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into great ones they ought to be. I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? You've done it again. Your handcuffs are gone. Where did they go? Fear not, I shall see they are restored after our work is done. I really do wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright, let's take a look. There's nothing to do with me. Aching heart smarts with pain. Alright, let's see. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has quite read her correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then? Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova. Her right ear. Her aching heart. Is there anything else? I don't... Oh, the head pain.
Yes!
Nah, man. It wasn't the right ear. Despite being in the neighboring cabin, you failed to notice what was happening to Mr. Asoki next door. And for that, you can't forgive yourself, can you? A feeling I understand all too well. The yield is bad enough, but Mr. Sholmes' accusatory words add salt to the wound and hurt your ears. That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I find myself wanting never to have heard it. I'm quite pained by it, in fact. Oh, sorry. I'll try again. I mean, she's holding her hand, so I have to assume it's something on her hand, but nothing changed on her hand. It's not her right ear. That's aching heart. Where else? We just kind of got to find the right thing, because you can't present it unless it's highlighted. That's right here. That's aching heart.
Yes!
What? Kazuma, Mr. Asoki, was my best friend, so I know what an aching heart feels like, believe me. We all know what it feels like. The world has an aching heart for loved ones lost. Are you quite concentrating? You identified exactly what I did originally. Oh, yes, so I have, sorry. Well, I do understand, as imitatable as I am, people do like to try. But you won't make a great detective like that. Not even a great detective's assistant. Assistant. Okay, so that's just kind of standard text. Good look of her. I mean, what else is there to present? It's not right ear. That's also right ear. Oh. I didn't realize you could do that.
Yes!
Okay, I need to remember, you can turn the camera on these investigations. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Ah. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? Ah! When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. This pretentious knight. Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel with, was it not? As I suspected, a rather telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. No, it's the cat that you laid out the milk saucer for. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer.
Yes!
What? Let's not be distracted by the print itself. Oh no. It's the front. Look at the picture. Not okay. What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural progression of deduction. Sometimes the truth hurts. Well, the truth is, you do not have a turn for observation or deduction. Did that hurt? Yes, a lot. Yes, it's the cat. Probably responsible for the scratch in the back of her head. We know. Can I zoom in? Oh, instead of looking at the photograph frame, you just look at the photograph. I mean, it's not... If it's... I mean, it would be really funny if the friend was just Stroganoff. I really wish... I mean, what else? There's nothing really to zoom in over here. As far over we can go. It's either... It's not the serpent. We know it's not the photograph of the cat, most likely. It was either the teapot or Stroganoff himself. I mean, the teapot would indicate, like, she shoved the cat inside the teapot.
Yes!
Dang. Yes, I know what you're thinking. What is this man talking about? Well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. The truth. Yes, who could you have a more cozy relationship with than a shiny teapot? What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural... Okay. We've heard this before. And I guess it has to be the Seaman.
Yes!
What? Forget about how you could have brought him aboard in your case, or how you could fit in the ventilator. A true friend always finds a way for you. And what's more dependable friend than you can ask for than Steve Man, Biff Stroganoff. So, I thought I'd contribute to the show. This is my show, Mr. Naruhodo. Kindly perform any. Well, this is awkward. Deduction failed. I can see nothing. Retry from course correction. Alright. What else is there? I tried the photo frame. I tried the semen. It's not going to be the snake. And it's not the teapot, so what else is there? What else could it be? Not the aching heart, it's the bloody hand. Spin! Oh, we can move up and down too. It's not just side to side.
Yes!
Let's try looking up and down next time. Maybe, I don't know, if that actually applies to all of them. Alright, let's get to the next scene already. Yes, your friend aboard the vessel. But it wasn't Mr. Stroganoff. It's not the writhing serpent. It's not the teapot, and it's not the photograph. Oh, I bet if we look... No, we cannot go up or down. Well, it's not the teapot, it's not the photograph frame. I mean, I am just not seeing anything else.
Yes!
Oops. That's not the photograph frame. I hit the wrong button. No, look at what's in the frame. Idiot. What? What is wrong? I don't know. What did they say? Yeah, some sort of like little cat. But we can't zoom in or anything. It's not the photograph frame, it's the photograph in the frame. And it's not the serpent. It can't be the serpent. I don't see what else it could be. Because you can't see like behind it. I mean, I know this is probably wrong because it's the same thing, yeah. Obviously not. Like, it's a cat, but where do I... Outside of the photo of a cat in the picture frame, he refuses to point out the cat inside of the picture frame. Like, am I just blind? Like, yeah, that is a cat. It is very much so a cat. Now where is this cat? Like, I don't know. I'm struggling. That looks kind of like a fish. We know it's not. We know it's not him. We know it's not the snake. We know it's not the teapot. We know it's not the photographic frame. It's the cat inside of the frame. Am I just being stupid? Can I sneak in between here? No. I can't move up or down. I can't like zoom in or out. That's just history again. I don't know. It's the photograph frame. It's the cat inside of the photograph frame. And it's not the teapot. It's not. If I could zoom in, I could like say, "Aha! It's the cat inside the photograph frame." And you can't see like the milk pan on the floor. That's just Stroganoff. There's nothing on the roof anywhere. I don't know. Like it's the cat.
Yes!
Don't. It's not the photograph frame. It's the cat in the photograph frame. I don't. Oh, I mean, hold on. Yeah, there's no cat behind me. Like, it's not Stroganoff. It's not the serpent. It's not the teapot. And it's not the photograph frame. Those appear to be the only things that I can highlight. So I don't know. What else it could be. Like, I'm just not seeing anything. It's the only thing I'm seeing is the cat on the inside of this photo frame. It's not like I can turn the thing around to like or move up or down. If I could like move up or down maybe, but like I don't know what to click, where to click. This is dumb.
Yes!
It's not though, it's the cat. Am I just being stupid? I don't want to turn on like the help mode. I would love it if the game just told me, what angle I would need to look at it. That thing wheels. I don't. Where is this damn cat?
Yes!
It's not the teapot. I'm so confused. What? I'm so confused. I don't know where I need to highlight. It's like, I know what I need to. I know what I need to prove. I need to prove that it's a cat. However, I don't know how to prove that it's a cat. I'm tempted to look it up at this point. Because I don't. What else is there? Because you can't scroll up or down. I've tried pressing like every other button. The only buttons I have available to me are the history log and present button when I'm hovered over something. So I have no idea where to highlight this cat evidence. Because it's not letting me like zoom in or anything.
Yes!
It's the claw scratch. From the catcher hiding. But where? She didn't shove the cat in the teapot because I would have gotten a response from the twice. Both times I clicked teapot. So I don't know where to click. Where is this cat? Where is this damn cat? The friend, she glances. Where is this cat? I don't know. Oops. Do you see a cat? No. Do you see a cat? No. But yes. Because there is a cat. It's just you can't do anything with the cat. I'm so confused. Am I just being dumb? Like, I don't understand. It's not him. It's not the snake. It's not the teapot. It's not the cup. It's not the photograph frame. It's the photograph. I'm looking this up because this is stupid. What's this? Um, Cat course correction. Ace Attorney. Okay. Thankfully, this person on Reddit has the same problem as I. Oh. Okay, so I need to examine something. Wait, what? Well, if you don't present me the like, that's annoying. You should show me that I have an option to look at something closer rather than just, yeah, the cat. You should show me that I have the option of examining it rather than just history and present. That's kind of annoying. Well, at least we can progress now. Whoa,
Yes.
kitten. Who could have guessed this shocking revelation? Without a doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see here. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes it abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Ah! Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet that fact leaves us in quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in the slightest. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this a sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now hidden behind your back. Yes, that's what you are trying, but failing to conceal. Can only be the snake-slowed skin. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would have ever known. Oh, yes. Ploys like that are Mr. Sholmes' specialty. He so cleverly forced her to reveal something. I thought deduction was his specialty. Or maybe making believe that it was a ploy, too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that that's the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Well, it's not smooth snake skin. Let's just examine it. Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? Feels like a cat toy. Handle on one end. Yeah, a cat toy. How is that a toy for cats? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. We only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it. That sounds positively adorable.
Yes.
Now we present the cat story. Okay, we're getting the hang of this. Yes, the thing that you are trying, but failing to conceal, is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of how the now infamous speckled band. Ah! And it was a toy that you dangled to the ventilator. You were waving around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can be only one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use a speckled cat story to incite the creature to return. Ah. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. A truly troublesome feline young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Okay. They should really show that you can examine things. It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bear cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. But I don't think the kitten killed Kazuma. Darka, she is so naughty. Unless the cat knocked something heavy onto his neck. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear that there are no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body. That's right, but Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. Updated autopsy report. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other. His necklace. Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seeming Stroganoff is some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably, Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. I suppose it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly, or it could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Could it be that when the ship was stopped last night, he tripped over the cat, because that's the bell that the cat was wearing. So the cat snuck into his room. Maybe Kazuma, in like a bout of fear or whatever, tripped the alarm, or Pavlova, afraid for her cat, tripped the alarm, causing the ship to lurch. In doing so, Kazuma tripped over the cat, skidding on the floor and smacking his head awkwardly onto something. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's lace leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. And, by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant he lost his life. No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene when Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in the traveling case. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true, I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But, and if this part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Okay. I mean, I think it's the basket. I mean, where else should she throw something away? Nope, okay. Then it's probably the tiara? Perhaps I should have examined it more thoroughly. Regardless, I'm just gonna throw caution to the wind and say this is it. Very good, Renos, okay. Who could have seen that one coming? Okay. Maybe I should have examined the basket first. Because that seems to be the reason why. Or that seems to be the reason how we actually find these things. Let's not throw caution to the wind. This is a wastepaper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them? But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in here yet. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Yes!
There we go. Quick tip. Make sure you examine your stuff before you just blindly present it. Ah! Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object in the scene. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that the part of this glass object was evidently broken at the scene of the crime, or the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the wastepaper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know. In that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be the image of the cat. If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darkest collar, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? No, wrong voice. Your absent feline friend, Darka. I feel bad for her. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Tripping over again. I mean, that's not a great way to go. So I guess my theory about the killer writing wardrobe was wrong. It almost feels like at this point there's not going to be a trial. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hand. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it? Yes. And I had read the rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me. Yes, modern science suggests animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point you thought it was safe to try and lure the kitten back again. By dangling the end of the toy to the ventilator into the adjoining cabin. Darka always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. The faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote about in his diary was Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... Meow thud. I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Cosmo was... Dang. From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Buria is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and more violently without warning. If Mr. Asogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards? In the end, I managed to get her to come back though, through the ventilator. Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case, and now she's disappeared again. Gracious, that cat is as insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least. When I woke up this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to mine had died, but I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared that they would send me back. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your famous Pavlova, then whose is it and where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board this ship?
Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirozko.
Huh?
What?
That snake belongs to you.
He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here.
Yes, how did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board.
Ha! We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long with our close friend, without someone who understands.
Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better?
But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Pirozko does not have venom. He is harmless, very long but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny.
It's venomous.
Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile.
And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose?
Ha! Like they say they milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Pirozko eat mouses. Big fat round mouses.
Ah, oh, so is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for?
Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food?
Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. And the absent look of eyes in the, and the absence of eyes in Mr. Sholmes right now. Not great. It refuses to drink milk, it can't hear a whistle, it can't climb up a belt cord, and it's not even venomous.
How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It is not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Pirozko is nothing to do with this incident.
I mean, yeah. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. Dang. Awkward. Miss Pavlova, I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize, but please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But what are you talking about, Miss Mikotova? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh? I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Ah, not again. When did he do that? Especially as they're on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours, was he not? Yes? Kazuma was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, this feels like a good time for a save, then. Let's do that. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Yeah, then how did... Alright, I'll see what I can do. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. Like... So then, shall we begin? Yes. Okay, let's take one last look. Does Kazuma know Russian? Like, it stands to reason. I think that Pavlova left the room to go looking for Darka, and she entered the room next door. She saw that Kazuma had died, so she wrote in Russian wardrobe on the floor. And then she slammed the ship, or called the ship's alarm when she left the room to make it look like that he had fallen when the ship had lurched from the stop. But then why'd she write wardrobe? Because she would have no way of knowing. I mean, unless like she heard through the walls that I was in there. What should we ponder first? Is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside? Was this truly an unfortunate accident, or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must first establish in this, But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via his ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident.
Hold it!
Wait, well, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's what really happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't have possibly been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. I think the photograph makes the most sense here. Because if he had snapped his neck, he wouldn't have been able to write anything. The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Isogi could have left this message on the floor. That script, it's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people will leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There is no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor, and the reason why is clearly explained here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Which means after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything, because he was already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, if what Miss Pavlova told us was true. What? So Suzaru-san noticed it too, then. Putting this message on the floor outside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words... I mean, I guess it's the... Another piece of evidence proves there's no accident. I think it's the skid mark and the glass bell. I think that's what makes the most sense.
Yes!
This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. But that's the glass bell the kid had around his neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there is a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in the cabin? Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both of these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her own guilt. Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asogi's... You are wasting time.
Someone else was there. Of course, we know this. What are you talking about? The bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There is no way in or out.
Oh, yes. And only one other person in that cabin. And the only other person...
Oh, and the only other person in cabin when young student died was you.
It's true, I was in the cabin when it happened. We were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There was no way I could have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor, in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. And then, the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell anyway? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. A single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would barely have cast any light on the floor there. Little wonder, then, that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item. You all suspect me, don't you? Steven Stroganoff?
Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago they noticed her dancing skill, and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse Ship's Angel of being criminal.
Ah, so that's it.
You say that when young student died, Nina was there in the cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth.
Well, this is most interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure?
You are a great detective. You should know. Look truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Yes, it's impossible. Ugh, he's right.
But wait, I've read about this in the detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can't open and close them from the outside.
Thread, are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors.
Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel, with not a gap in sight. No thread or needle or magnet could have been used. No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so... Suzato-san, how could you shift it onto me like that? So Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door could not have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily.
What?
I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of this method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside. One way does spring to mind, yes. Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, and so should you, because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? What are the telltale signs of the method that was used to select the cabin door from the outside? The books. Look at the bookcase there. See all the books and things I want to have toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel, after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia acting on the objects. Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or isn't in her book, at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. Ah! It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we had bolted the door. But then... Sounds like... Yes, we know. But then... Oh, yes! That's it! When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to remove by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that. Or are you trying to say that last night, after Miss Asogi was killed, is why we all have pain in our heads, because when the ship stopped, we all smacked our heads against the wall while we were sleeping. The SS Buria made another emergency stop. When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh, yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I? Then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin. Oh my! Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova?
Are you out of your mind? You say Burya made emergency stop.
It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room.
Oh, it's simple enough.
Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm?
Oh yes, of course.
There was a notice, wasn't there, telling you only to press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone.
Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity.
Wait, it was you?
When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interests of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. He sounds almost proud of himself.
How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now.
Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin door slide closed. So, what we must now consider... Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Isoki, did the ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiots. Burya is huge ship with many passengers. If we make an emergency stop, even in middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? The ship's log.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganov, it's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right?
Ah, that is correct. Why?
And the ship's log here, this would be where you record the details of your duties?
What are you doing with that? That is mine.
Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as a responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return to you later.
I left it there on purpose. That is where I have put it always.
The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write the phrase "nothing to report" every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until the first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log.
That is... because nothing happened.
But if nothing happened, you would normally write "nothing to report," wouldn't you? Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Burya. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to feel the ship's log, in fact. Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish!
If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed. That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anyone would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night. Well, no, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Sorry. What do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Ah! Oh, yes. I have had a headache. You're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn. Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe and had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, did you? Oh, well, yes, sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Ah, well, Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that we served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact, I had all of that. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant? That's why the cat went over. My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken? I do. No. Oh. Is the cat just like knocked out somewhere? That would explain why. Well, no, because the cat came back. We got the cat back. I don't know. No, really, is that true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug. Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? Mr. Sholmes? The crew knew the ship, try that again. The crew knew that Nina wanted to come aboard last night, and they knew they would have to make an emergency stop to get her aboard. So they drugged all the passengers to get Nina safely aboard the ship. But no, that doesn't make any sense, because Nina was already aboard the ship when Nasogi died. Well, Seaman? The timeline isn't timelining right. I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made to the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over to the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade. Please, no more. I would tell everything. Eh? I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe. Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. They wanted to help arrange.
I don't believe it.
You are right. We put sleeping drugs in chicken last night.
Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point.
That we could not make our drug, how you say, dissolve. Ugh, talk about heavy seasoning.
Not the time, Inosuke.
At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought a ranger on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat.
While all the passengers of the SS Burdia slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who dislike chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door. But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meals of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by their tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes. The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning.
You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point?
The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But I don't know I don't know about any of this. I am just a little girl.
You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes.
A laudable trait.
What?
I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind. What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes. For observation is the basis of all deduction.
What are you talking about?
I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. Alright. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said. Of these two prevaricators. Observation? If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Usogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely, you are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there.
Yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from.
So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain?
What are you trying to say?
It would appear that the significance of this stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform, and I think what made it is clear. Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves that what the stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is. I mean, obviously it's the ink splotch, but what? The diary?
Yes!
Nope. What's the Takugaga? This is the same thing. What? I mean, is it the photograph? You know, it occurs to one occasionally, Mr. Naruhodo, yes, that a purple stain is perhaps caused by something purple. Pray, what color was the object you identify? That was a gentlemanly way of telling me I'm an idiot. Oh, did Mr. Sholmes upset you, Mr. Naruhodo? Your face has turned almost purple. Alright, I get the idea. I should be looking for something purple. So the evidence that proves what the stain on the back of the Seaman Stroganoff. That's not purple, that's not purple. That's not purple.
Yes!
Yeah, okay. Yes, it's this photograph, and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink! Oh, did he think it was blood? A rather unusual color of ink. Purple. Ah! Ah, the penny drops, at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain of your back of your uniform is ink of the exact same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform in that way. Which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilled.
Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in Dead Student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Suburia do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Biff, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling a passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet.
Biff, please, you must help me.
I went with her. The door to the cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw a student boy on the floor. What happened here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten escaped to the ventilator into Mr. Sogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell on the floor. Yes, that is right.
So after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor.
She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on the floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked. So she opened to look, and you already know what happened after.
There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Asoki's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you. When Nin opened door of student cabin and looked inside,
I was asking Miss Pavlova. Well, Miss Pavlova? Ah. Oh. Yes, that's right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you. So, is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck. Therefore, the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural.
what do you mean unnatural?
What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well. If Kazuma tripped and fell, by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photograph prints seem unnatural? I mean, if he fell forward, that doesn't make sense. Like his hand would be outstretched. Because, I mean, if you fall forward, you try to stop yourself. If you fell backwards, I mean, he wouldn't be laying face down, so I think it's his hand. Alright, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right. Yeah, okay, good. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist, almost you might say, as if though he were gripping something.
What do you mean?
Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found in there, my dear fellow?
The squished remains of cat.
Mr. Sholmes, show us, please. Why, of course, my dear madam. Would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found. Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us?
It tells us nothing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it tells us. That would be it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this is going.
It tells us nothing.
I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key.
What?
The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe, find the answer with your own eyes. Oh, earring.
Yes!
I knew the ear was relevant. Miss Pavlova, I noticed that on your ear, even though you have a metal earring, The decorative part of it seems missing. The little link holding it on must have been broken, I suppose.
Eh, what?
But looking at your other ear, I notice a crescent moon. Ah,
I don't believe it.
now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there is only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes.
Miss Pavlova, Mr. Aselki must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just a moment before he fell onto the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Aselki's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh no.
Angel.
No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma?
Finally.
When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin and could relax after this horrible long day. I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy, but nothing worked. Darka would not come back. What are you doing here this time of night, Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin... Just a moment. Sorry, but... Oh, yes. I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah! Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina. Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina? Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on the ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you run away. Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait! I shouted, and then...
I smacked him.
And... as he turned around to look at me... I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me. And that's when you went to fetch help from Seaman Stroganoff, who was on duty out in the passageway.
I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like a leaf. She looked at me and said,
Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go. I mean, I feel bad for her, but like... Again, she did kind of do it. So you decided to help? And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it. So that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door.
Yes. I went to the cabin and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway in wardrobe, still sleeping.
Right, that's when he found me. So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the Stowaway.
I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign.
Luckily for me, that's the only reason Suzato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent.
I dragged young man's money to good place and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote Russian so that person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find Stowaway.
And tell me, what of the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half.
Then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job.
By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway?
Yes.
Accordingly, the SS Buria did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus tightening the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland, and it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right? Yes, but even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? It was what he said first that made me scared. What he said first? What are you doing here this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Ah, yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? I mean, you said he was going to ask for another opinion. He was obviously going to get Rinosuke up. Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but he was a man of his word. And if he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done. No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not done yet, it seems. There's one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes, what action was the victim really about to take at the moment? Can we determine whither the young man's gaze was directed? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy, I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still, the cabin has been my home for the entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuya-sama? Yes, it's exactly how it was. Are Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, if there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at? The wardrobe. My wardrobe. I was in there at the time, of course, sleeping soundly. Too soundly. If only I hadn't eaten that chicken that was laced with the sleeping drug. If only he'd woken me up. Then maybe this tragedy would never have happened.
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however, what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. The wardrobe. And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly. Ah! Miss Pavlova, please think back very carefully. What were Mr. Sogi's exact words last night? Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. Another opinion? Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter, to see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had. This is sad. Miss Pavlova, I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did, and that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done? Man. And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Burya was finally laid to rest. Man, I'm kind of tearing up here. 9th January, 7:14 p.m., SS Burya, first class cabin passageway. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now then? Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So, she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. I'm sorry. Seaman Stroganov. I wanted to help arrange you, no matter what. But I didn't think about you and how you lost good friend. I'll go with Ninya. I will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me,
I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes. I did stow away after all. I couldn't really expect it any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. Dang. It looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it's even begun then. To think that only days ago, Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. That seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Yeah. Susato-san. Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack. You know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. Aww. I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that. Susato-san. He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away. Just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much now, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much. Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say. Inspector, my duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. But I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now. Huh? Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo. What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry. So I decided to restore them. For old time's sake, we say. You are a stowaway after all. He thinks this is funny? Mr. Sholmes, we do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Not at all, not at all. And though it is a little late, may I offer my sincerest condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to feel some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant. Was to be. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Oh no. I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue shortly. But there's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Oh, but
But anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourself another suitable lawyer.
yes. Mr. Sato. Yes? Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it?
Ah, but you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, unless... Are you studying law?
No, I'm not, but
I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work.
But as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach England shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain.
Mr. Naruhodo? That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody can learn all of that in just 40 days?
There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if by the time we reach Great Britain I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate.
But why put yourself in such a difficult position?
For Kazuma, he said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it, and I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Mr. Sato?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you. It's nice to see her smile. So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend has to say?
Are you serious?
One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are indisputable.
No, no, no. It's madness.
Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree?
Fascinating.
Duty and rules are all the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination.
Speak for yourself.
Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, then despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. He's not wrong. I have been pretty awesome today.
Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice.
Inspector,
After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here.
oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next, and how best to make my report.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer?
I would be delighted to help you.
I am a judicial assistant after all. Thank you.
And, Mr. Naruhodo,
I'd like you to take charge of this. What? Me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Sogi clan for generations. Very well, I accept. I'll treasure it, always. Why am I crying in an Ace Attorney game? So then, Mr. Sato, it seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet. I'm fine. Everything is fine. It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study. Yes, that's exactly what I need. Oof. But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you too. Goodness, what is it? Please throw me to the ground. 3 times. What? I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior. No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin door was locked on the inside. No, I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstance, I should never have thrown you, and not just once, but 5 times. That number keeps creeping up, doesn't it? Please, you must just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it. No. I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I must confess I was most impressed. Where did he see that? I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling. Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujutsu technique. Apparently it's called the Susato Takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. How beguiling. I am a practitioner of combative arts myself. I am somewhat of an accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw. Yes, I'd be honored. Let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam. Uh-oh. Oh, of course. Uh-oh. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry. Hi! Yeah, I saw that one coming. As you can see, you throw from the abdomen. Oh, yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Susato Takedown, is it? Actually, no. That was a Susato Squash. Oops. Oh. Cry. Oh. Well, I think this is a good place to finish up for the night. I was not expecting to cry tonight. The world works in mysterious ways. In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered in my mind. Karuma? That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Yosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what it was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. The end? The end. Whew. That was intense. Man, that was kind of sad. Let's see, this is great. Alright. This seems like a good place to stop for the night. And so we shall. Thanks for joining the stream tonight. Had fun. A little annoying with the cat thing, but we got past that. Was not expecting such a tearful finale, but that's more of a me thing. And I guess I'll be back tomorrow for Mewtwo Monday. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Fly high.